A quick couple housekeeping items just for safety. In case of emergency, we'll go out that door to the back into the back parking lot. I don't think there's going to be a tornado today, so I'm going to skip over that one. In case of any other emergency, I'm happy to be the 911 caller if we need it. There's an AED and first aid kit at the front desk of the hotel, and there's restrooms out this door to the right down the hall if we need them. Virtual folks, please feel free to send a message in the chat if you have any emergencies or need to leave for any reason. Really quick agenda. We'll do some introductions, and then the team is going to go over some high impact projects by construction year for the district. We'll talk about communication and coordination needs, and then there will be plenty of time. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask. Folks online, you can put questions in the chat and we'll make sure we get those answered as well. I'll start with introductions and then we can just go around the room. My name is Delaney Watkins. I'm actually with HDR in the Strategic Communications Program. We're helping NDOT facilitate these meetings this year. So,
good morning. I'm Dave Hansen. I'm the Utilities Engineer for Department of Transportation. So we're based out of Lincoln and work with all the districts on coordinating with all the projects.
Jeremy Williams, the Assistant Utility Engineer with NDOT.
You start here.
Jess with Three River Communications in Springview. Site plan. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Jim Murphy with Three River. I'm Nick Kovac. I'm the District Wide Development Engineer. I am right-of-way officer. District 8. Jason Lane, District 8 Construction. Todd Hill, Assistant Roadway Design Engineer, Design Support Section of the Utilities Group falls within one section.
All right. Pass it off to the project team.
All right. And thank you everybody online for joining us. We're going to start going through some projects here in just a minute, but I did want to let everybody know. Typically, we host a portion of this meeting that is going over changes or new initiatives with the utility accommodation policy. Just a reminder, our new policy went into effect January of 2024. So we've been working with that for a couple of years now. We are still working through some of the information in there and understanding how it is applied and interpreted. So if you come across any part of the policy that is not clear to you, please reach out to us, myself or Jeremy, and we can help you work through the policy to clarify and then spell out exactly what NDOT is intending with that. We hosted a meeting a couple of weeks ago where we went over all of the changes, so I'm not going to touch on any of that here today, but just so you know, that information is available online, and we recorded that whole meeting so you can go back and listen to what we had already presented then. So we're going to jump into the projects in District 8 that are going to be constructing next year, starting next year in 2026. It does not look like we have any that are carrying over from 2025 at this point. So all of those should be wrapped up and good to go. But for 2026, we do have a couple of projects on the list that will be high impact, starting with Brewster East. So I'm sure this project's been on the radar for a little while. It's a 9.5 mile project. There's going to be a realignment and some impacts to some of the overhead power lines that are there. There may be some other facilities in the area that are also going to be impacted. There will be full depth pavement placement. There will be culvert extensions and repairs going on there. And then there's going to be quite a bit of grading with this project. We're anticipating it's going to start construction sometime early spring, and then continuing on through the whole construction season next year. Just a couple of utilities in the area would be Custer Public Power, Consolidated Telephone Company in Hamilton. So if any of those representatives are online, just be aware your facilities are in the area of the project. And here it is on the map. So You can kind of get an idea of where this is existing in Nebraska. Does anybody have any comments or questions about this particular project, Brewster East? Is there anything online?
No questions yet.
Okay, feel free to ask those at any point. We're just trying to make this informational for our utility companies, and discussion is welcome. That is the main impactful project that we see in 2026. And I'll let Jeremy talk about 2027 for a second.
One note I don't think Dave hit on, you may find additional projects on fact sheets there, in both years. Not all projects were put into the presentation here. Some of those projects were pretty low impact projects that are unlikely to have utility conflicts.
I guess worth mentioning on that point is all of the projects that are on this list, we would just ask that you coordinate with our district office to avoid being in that particular area at the same time as our contractor. So if you have your own facilities that you're trying to install or work with, please just work with Jason and his team, and we'll get it to where we can both get our jobs done.
Next up, for our first one for 2027 is Merritt Reservoir South, 7.7 miles in length with resurfacing, culvert extension and replacement, and grading. Again, looks like we're slated for the general construction season of 2027. We have Lumen and Consolidated Telephone along this corridor. I believe here is a aerial of that project. See from their reservoir. So O'Neill North is a 13-mile project that includes culvert extension and replacement, and pavement reconstruction. I'll take this point to reiterate something that we did talk about in the general meeting a couple weeks ago. We asked that you kind of take a close look at the culvert work that may show up on our plans, particularly anytime there's jacked culverts. We're finding that that's not always being picked up, because where we are doing that culvert jacking work, they will typically need as much as a 50-foot by 50-foot area of disturbance for those jacking pits, both the jacking in and the receiving end. So obviously could have a more substantial impact than may appear by what's shown directly on our plans. Again, we're scheduled just for the 2027 season. As we can see here, though, this particular one has a fair number of utilities along the corridor of this project. Here, O'Neill to the north. What we have here.
I can talk about district heat cameras. So and the RWIS replacement. So we will have a number of camera towers that are going to be placed on this project. That'll be various locations throughout District 8. What we're really asking for on these types of projects, so any of the ITS projects that, like in the project number here, it says ITS. Anytime you see that, what we just really ask for is very good locations of your facilities and depths, because with our camera towers, we do have the ability to field adjust them 10 or 15 feet in any direction, so that we can, get out there. If we find that your facility is right where we have designed our camera tower, we're just going to move it over so we don't impact you. The better locates you can give us, the easier time we'll have avoiding you. On these projects, we typically try not to have you come do any relocations unless they're absolutely necessary. So that'll be going, all these towers will be going up in summer of 2027. And just because there are a lot of locations, and oftentimes these are at intersections, we do see a lot of utilities tend to show up in those vicinities. So just be aware that that's on its way. We don't have a map for it. It'd be a bunch of pins on the map of Nebraska, kind of tough to tell. So next project is going to be S16B to US 20. It's a 10-mile project. The major work on here that we think is going to be utility impact is going to be bridge repairs. And so anywhere that we're doing that, there's a chance your utility might be on the bridge or hanging on the bridge. And then we would just need to work with you to make sure it's not going to be impacted, or if it is, get those relocations put in place. Just a small handful of utilities in that area. And just because we're kind of identifying the parts of the project that we think are going to be the highest impact, but we will, as we get closer to these projects, we'll send out full plan sets and ask you to look at the entire project, just to make sure that your facilities are not in conflict there.
Well, and especially these ones for 2027, there could be some additional work identified between now and further developed plans.
And here's the area of that project. Just going up to 20 there. And with that, those are the major projects in District 8. I guess I'd ask you guys from the district, do you have any other comments about any of these projects or other projects that we maybe should have talked about on here?
The new cameras going up. I'd like to have those laying on the town and stuff. There's one of those cameras.
Okay.
I don't look at the building. But to okay. So every time I have pumped out in these 12. So we're
Yep.
nice to be able to say, well, so I have, here you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, our design plans will should show the power route. If that's actually what goes on in the field or not, that's,
Yeah.
We'll amend and update that, but we do keep a record of those as-built and try to share them with anybody who could benefit from it. So good point, John. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the online group?
Nothing right now.
Of course, we are always open to questions. So if you think of something after the meeting ends or have comments, please reach out to us. We're happy to try to work with you on any of the projects that you might have a question on, and no question is out of bounds for us. So we'll try to get answers as best we can for you. I did want to point out, here is our utility coordinator map. So this is how the state of Nebraska is divided into districts for NDOT. We're up here in District 8. And our coordinator we had in place for District 8 was Don Horton. He's since left NDOT for other opportunities. We definitely wish him well, but you may have been used to working with Don. In the meantime, until we find the utility coordinator that can take over his role, you can reach out to either Jeremy or myself. Or in general, probably the best email to get in touch with us is the utilities section email down here, which is ndot.rd-utilities@nebraska.gov. That is our email that goes to our entire unit. And so everybody that is on this list would get that email as well. It's your best chance for something not going missed, especially if right now we have a TBD in District 8. So if you're sending emails to Don, he's not getting them, and neither are we. As always, we request your feedback. We appreciate any of your input. We're trying to make these utility coordination meetings useful for you, the utility company, so that we can coordinate these projects better. We want to give you the most efficient and effective information that we can. And so if you can let us know how we can improve these meetings, that would be greatly appreciated. We also want to help you work with the other utility companies that you might need to coordinate as you're making placements out in the field. So we're just trying to bridge the gap and help everybody help everybody. You can also visit our website for utility information. So we have on our dot.nebraska.gov in the business center, there's a section for utilities, and it has links to the accommodation policy, the permitting requirements. If you're wanting to occupy right of way, it lets you know kind of our coordination process and how we will work with you if your project or if our project is impacting your facility. You can find the fact sheets that you have in front of you, utility coordinator maps, a whole lot of other information pertinent to utility companies as you're working on our projects. You can find that there. And without further ado, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here with us today, in person and online. Thanks to HDR for facilitating the meeting and helping us get this up and running. And Jeremy, do you have any other final comments?
I think we covered.
Good. Todd? Nope. All right. Well, if there are no further questions, I think we can adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Put that back on the screen real quick, and then so folks can scan that.